Hello. I wanted to talk about fear of the dark and the irrationality of it, plus why people why people are tricked by the moonlight, so to speak. So, if you think about the dark, right? You think about going out at nighttime, where there are no lights. So, just earlier I was in the middle of a park where there is absolutely no lights. No lights at all. And I was alone, and for the first time that I can remember, I had a moment where I was not afraid at all. And I was consciously aware of it. I was not afraid um, in the slightest. And I was feeling that situation. I was looking around and at the complete pitch blackness, um, and I suddenly realized that the only reason I had been afraid of the dark in the past was because of an assumption that dangerous things could happen to me in the dark. But the realization that I had whilst losing my fear of the darkness, the realization told me, nay, it showed itself to me uh, in a way that was suggesting the dangerous things in the dark. They were danger only to me as I thought as a thinking of the right word to use here. As a mere subject. And what I mean by that is sort of as an object subject, if you get what I'm saying, right? So, when you're afraid of the dark, then you are assuming the role is yours of the random person, nameless, ageless, who just all out out of nowhere gets clobbered from behind or pinned down or whatever. It, but you get the point. They are struck. Let's say they are struck blind, struck deaf, dumb, and blind. Anyway, you're assuming that role is yours when you're afraid of the dark, and I I found myself realizing in this moment when I was walking through this park. I found myself realizing that I'm not that object subject. That the role I had been assuming didn't, it didn't belong to me. So it certainly didn't behave to me. So let me tell you what that means, by the way. Okay, so if it had behaved to me, then that would mean I fit the archetype of that object subject, which I clearly do not. But not only did it not behave to me, it did not belong to me. So, in other words, it could not stay long. That self-imposed, superimposed role of assumption. So I think I realized that I'm a lot more powerful, a lot more of a citadel of an individual, a lot more of a stronghold of an individual. I know that's a weird, I know it's weird to say that about oneself, but think about it. Like, you know, if you have a bunch of, you know, people who are different in form, right? Some people are taller, some people are shorter, some people are fatter, some people are thinner, some people have long hair, other people are bald. If you think about all those, you know, variations of form, because if you do cut your hair, you change your form, you know, even though it's seen, you know, hairstyles is seen as, you know, fashion, it's actually formation. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point is, you have a bunch of different people, so if they know themselves, then I'm guessing the guy who's like Andre the Giant-esque, who is like, you know, skilled in, at the same time in martial arts or whatever, or what have you, but it's basically a tank of a man. The experience he will have if he knows himself walking through a park at night will be quite different from the experience of the Danny DeVito-esque height guy who has brittle bone syndrome or something along those lines of condition, and, you know, who's losing his teeth or whatever, you know. It's, and if Danny DeVito guy walks through a park alone at night with no light source, the experience is going to be vastly different if he knows himself as well, you know what I'm saying? So, if, let's say, for instance, neither of them know themselves, they only know the role of the object-subject, well then, the way society operates, you know, is through, you know, morally and ethically congruent, you know, motives and means, but I would say it's more toward the side of ethics, given that democracy is always the most popular form of deviated governance. And so, if we're looking at, you know, both Andre the Giant guy and Danny DeVito guy as, you know, these two guys see themselves as object-subject, and so they assume that role, then it's going to be the case that more often than not, given the way most societies are formed, that Andre the Giant guy, who, if he knew himself, wouldn't be afraid of walking through the dark alone at night, he'll be afraid because he doesn't know himself. And so he assumes more of a Danny DeVito-esque role of object-subject. Did that make sense to you? I hope I explained it well. But basically, I was walking through the park alone at night, and I had this realization that that object-subject role isn't mine. It's not mine. I know myself well enough that it can't. The amount of time that I can assume that role is diminishing. You know, it's I think eventually it will go away, and then I won't have any moments of spaced out hesitation when, you know, in an atmospherically spooky sort of you know, external conditionality environment, right? I think that fear is depleting in me. Its fear is going away, and it's interesting to realize. It's interesting to realize when your fear, you know, when your insecurities that were illusions start to disintegrate, right? Just like some people might have inadequacies. No doubt, some people will have inadequacies that are, you know, illusions. And they are based on not knowing oneself. But when you get to know yourself more, you know, and you start to look at your reflection honestly, then you might find out that you really are the weakling, you know, runt of the litter, or you could find out that you're not as weak as you thought. Maybe you find out that you are, you know, Andre the Giant guy, and then you can walk through the dark on your own, no problem, no sweat. Anyway, it's something to think about. Have a good day. Peace. Meow.